Hi, my name is Jackie with the Ribbon Shed, and today I'm going to show you how to create double door wreaths, Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein. So I have already made the bride wreath, and I'm going to show you how to make Frankie. In your kit, you'll receive enough materials to make 2 wreaths. Okay? The extra tools that you'll need are a pair of wire cutters, scissors, and some hot glue. Let's get started. So to put mesh on your board, you're going to take 8 pipe cleaners. All right. You're going to cut 8 pieces of mesh, 20 inches long. On your ribbon, you're going to cut 4 pieces of purple, 8 pieces of the black and white harlequin, and 4 pieces of the green stripe. And you're going to do this for each wreath. Right? So you'll need a total of 16 white, 8 green, and 8 purple for both wreaths. All right, and this is how we're going to put our pipe cleaners on. So my little trick to doing this, I just take 4 of them, line them up, and I fold them in half a little bit. And I'm going to take my finger here and just kind of squeeze. All right, and make like a U shape out of them, like a U pin. And we're going to do the same thing over again with the other 4. All right. On your Unique and the Creek board, we're going to start directly in the middle, and you can tell the middle because the holes are just slightly closer together. And we're going to drop our pipe cleaner in those 2 holes. And we're going to do the same thing on the exact opposite side. And then we're going to skip this hole and then put our pipe cleaner in those 2 holes. And then put a pipe cleaner in the hole, 2 holes on the end. So it looks like that so far. I'm going to flip it around. Do the same thing on the other end. Now at this point you're probably concerned, how are we going to secure our pipe cleaners? And I'm going to tell you, here's the trick. Take your board after and just flip it over real quick. That's all you need to do, and your pipe cleaners are still in there. So what you're going to do is take your pipe cleaners, kind of even them out, and then between the 2 holes you're going to give it a couple twists to secure it. Pull your pipe cleaner up, make sure it's good and tight, and then give it a couple twists like so. Then you're ready to start your wreath. All right, so let me show you that one more time in case you didn't see it. And those are going to be the holes that you're using. All right, so now we just need 8 pieces of mesh. And just a reminder, they are cut 20 inches long. Now, the first pieces of mesh that I put in are the 2 ends because the mesh will lay better in the long run. And this is how we're going to do that. On your mesh has a tendency to fray, and to kind of prevent that, what we're going to do is just roll our mesh under just a little bit. We're just going to roll it under just a little bit. And then we're going to ruffle our mesh. I'll do this slowly so you can see what I'm doing as I ruffle. And then the end, we're just going to tuck it under, like so. Now the trick to getting this in your pipe cleaner and making it nice and tight is I take my thumb and I'm going to push down on that mesh as much as possible, and then give my pipe cleaner a couple twists. All right. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that better, what I'm doing. All right. Take your mesh. Just give it a little tuck under. All right, and that's going to prevent the fray. And then ruffle. Notice how I have my hands apart. I'm not going like straight down the middle with my finger. I've got my hands apart a little bit. And gathering my mesh. And then when I get to the end, I just kind of roll it and tuck it. Okay? Once I put it in the pipe cleaner, I'm going to take my thumb, push it down, and then give my pipe cleaner a couple twists. Okay? Now we're going to turn and go down the sides. Speed up a little bit. Roll the mesh. Ruffle along. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to purposely lay this mesh on top of this mesh. I'm not going to get the mesh out of the way per se. I'm going to lay directly on top of it. And the reason I'm doing this is because your mesh will lay, your ribbon will lay better on your wreath. And that's why I put the ends on first. So I'll stand my next pipe cleaner up and get it ready. Give the roll, ruffle, tuck that in. And then once again, I'm going to purposely lay the mesh on top of the other piece. And do that one last time. On this side, and then we'll flip around and put the other three pieces in. Okay, and we're going to flip it around to the other side and do the same thing. Ruffle our little part away. And once again, I'm still going to purposely lay my mesh on top of the other mesh. Give it a twist. A couple twists is all you need. I love these double door kits because if you have double doors, that's great. You can keep one wreath, give a wreath to a friend. If you do craft shows, these are perfect for quick craft show wreaths as well. So as you can see, we have now a beautiful, nice wreath base. All right. So now let me show you how I put my ribbon in. I'm going to kind of start the same way that I did with the mesh. I'm going to do the two ends first. I found with doing these that was the best way to do it. So on the ends, we're going to use the green and the harlequin first. What you do is you line up your two ribbons together. Now this is my little trick. I'll show you a couple different ways. My little trick is I kind of fold it in half. I don't pinch it in half, but I'm going to take my index finger and I slide my index finger in there and I just ball my index finger up to make my pinch. Then I grab it and I transfer that into my pipe cleaner and secure it in. And then what you want to do with your ribbon to make it lay correctly, it dimples down. You want to pop those dimples up. All right. And then just pull your ribbon apart. And that's what will make it lay better. Okay. Another way that people put ribbon on, they take their two pieces and they put them together. And then what they do is they fold them in half. And then they scrunch it up. Like so. And then they place it in their pipe cleaner. So either way is fine. Still pop out the dimple and just pull your ribbon apart. Whatever works best for you. All right. I'm going to zoom back out a bit so you can get a better look at the whole wreath as I'm working. So next we're going to do the purple. We're going to rotate every other between the purple and the green. Once again, fold in half, make your pinch. Now we're going to go back to the green. And purple. Now we're going to go around the other side and do the same thing all over again, starting with the purple. I think it'll take you longer to actually do the prep work than it will to make the actual wreath. All right. Let's put our last piece of ribbon in, and then we'll move on. All right, now that we got our ribbon in your kit, you got 2 of these picks, and this is what you're gonna do. 1 pick for each wreath. So you want to take these, your wire cutters, and you're gonna cut, and you're gonna leave about a 1/4 inch on the bottom of the stem. Cut all 5 of them off, and like I said, you just need to leave about a 1/4 inch. That 1/4 inch is so that you can stab it down into the mesh. All right, so what we're going to do now, this is where some hot glue comes in handy. You don't necessarily need the hot glue. I like using the hot glue to make sure that it is really good and secure. All right, because what we're going to do, we're going to take our piece. Now what you want to do is separate this out a little bit. Okay, and we're going to dab a little hot glue on the end here. I have a low temp hot glue gun so I don't burn myself. And we're going to cram this down in here. We're going to cram it down here till the pipe cleaner is right here on your stem. So we're going to cram that down into there to right there on that stem. Okay, now the hot glue is going to help hold this in place and keep it from wiggling around and also secure it. But now we're just going to tie our pipe cleaner around. Okay? And it'll probably be a little bit easier to see it on the next one. But always, if you touch the hot glue to your ribbon, make sure your ribbon is where you want it. Pull it apart. That way your ribbon doesn't get stuck the way you don't want it. All right, so once again, take your piece, separate these pieces out, okay? And we're going to tie the pipe cleaner right here in this area. So we're going to put hot glue at the bottom of the stem. And we're going to stab that down into the mesh, because we want to use the mesh to help secure it. So we're stabbing this down into the mesh, and then we're going to use the pipe cleaner also to help keep it in place. All right, if this ends up like flat against your ribbon and it has no pull up on it a little bit, this is a really good wired stem. You don't want it sitting so hard on your ribbon that it's flattening your ribbon out. All right, so we're going to do that a couple more times. Some hot glue. Going to stab that way down into the mesh. Twist our pipe cleaner. Like I said, I pull up on mine a little bit to make sure that it's not flat. All right. So we have 1 piece at the top, 2 on this side. So we're going to put 2. We're going to turn our wreath and put 2 on the other side. Probably can't hear it, but as I'm stabbing that in there, the mesh kind of like pops. It makes a noise. I'm using the mesh, like I said, to make sure that my fern is good and secure. All right. Last piece of fern in there. So now we're going to put our Frankenstein on. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to pull the ugly tag off first. And then we're going to lay Frankenstein in here, and I kind of just wanted him sitting high enough that he's basically kind of covering the green up, okay? That way I didn't have to make too big of a bow. I'm going to come all the way down to this pipe cleaner, and if it makes you feel better, you can put a little dab of glue on there, but you don't really need to. And yes, it's going to tilt up quite a bit when you do this. Okay, so I just kind of flattened him back down, make sure that he didn't move. All right, so then you're going to come to these two pipe cleaners, okay? One here and the one here that's all the way across. They're across from each other, okay? We're going to bring these two pipe cleaners together, and we're going to twist them together to secure this down. All right, one more time up here around the neck. We're going to use this pipe cleaner and the one across. We just need one of each. All right, and we're just pulling that and securing him in there. So give those a nice twist so that he won't go anywhere. Want to make sure, give it a good tug at the top. See, he's not going anywhere. Nothing to worry about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wire cutters at the bottom of this stem, and I'm going to cut it off because we don't need that. Okay? So now, before we make the bow and put the bow on, we're going to add the wreath hanger. All right? That way when we don't smash our bow. So in your kit, you have a zip tie. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my zip tie through this hole, and I'm going to bring it back up through the hole next to it and just secure it down. Now, I don't cut my zip tie because I'm afraid sometimes these end up sharp. I don't cut mine, but that'll be for your hanger. All right. So now we're going to make the bow. All right. Now, at the Ribbon Shed, they sell a bow maker called M's Bow and Go. I highly recommend that you get a bow maker if you're doing this for a hobby. It comes in handy at Christmas. Okay, especially if you don't know how to make a bow and you want to always make bows, get a bow maker. It makes it so much easier and it's a lot less to think about. But they have an M's Bow and Go at the Ribbon Shed. So even if you got M's Bow and Go, you're still going to make your bow the same way that I'm going to show you with the easy bow. All right. Now I take two pipe cleaners and I put them together. I don't necessarily need the two pipe cleaners, but I do. All right. So we're going to overlap the two pipe cleaners about an inch and twist. About an inch, inch and a half, we're overlapping them. And we're giving them a pretty good twist together. Multiple times. Multiple times, okay? We're going to slide that in there. And just like the other one, the first ribbon that we're going to start with is the purple. All right. And what I do is I dovetail my ribbon first. And then I'm going to measure, I want my tails to be 7 inches and each loop to be 6 inches. All right, and what I'm going to do is I pinch my ribbon on the outside and I'm going to give it a good twist. Twist, okay? So one side is the correct side and one side is the wrong side, and then I slide it into my bow maker. All right, now we want a 6-inch loop. With these bow makers, if you pull on your ribbon, the ribbon slides through. So to prevent that from happening and you get your 6-inch loop, hold your hand here while you pull more ribbon out. Okay? And then all you have to do is feed your ribbon down through. Okay? Now in the center, you're going to twist again. Okay? Correct side up, wrong side up. Let me show you again. Bring your ribbon over. Go ahead and slide it down in there. Hold that and get your 6-inch loop. And then take and make a twist directly in the center between the two pegs. Let me zoom in so you can get a better eyeball on what I'm doing. All right. Once again, because we're going to do 2 loops on each side, notice I'm holding it here. That way I don't pull my ribbon through. Okay. We're going to make our loop 6 inches. I'm going to hold my hand here so I don't pull it through. Then once I have got my 6 inches in the center, I got my hands on both sides, twist. Good side, bad side. We're going to do that one more time. Drop your ribbon down through the center, 6 inches. And this time we're not going to twist because we're done. Okay? We want the good side up. That's our ribbon tail. So we're going to dovetail that and go on to our next ribbon. Now the black and white, we're just going to make 1 loop on each side, and we're going to make that about 5.5 inches. Okay. So once again, I'm still going to want the ribbon tails kind of long. So now I'm going to pinch my ribbon before I start. Grab it and then twist. And I'm just here to say, like, if you don't understand how I'm making a bow, please don't get discouraged. There is a lot of people out there doing tutorials with M's Bow and Go, the Easy Bow. Please, I encourage you, go to YouTube and find a person that explains it the way that you understand it. All right. So here we go again. Like I said, about 5.5 inches. So I'm going to lay my finger there. Now with 2.5 ribbon, it doesn't twist as well in the middle as far as I'm concerned, so I don't drop it. I'm going to do a pinch and then twist and then make my drop. It's just, to me, personally, it just doesn't twist as well in the center. So I'm coming right up to my peg, and that's where I'm going to make my pinch. And this time we're not twisting, but we're just going to drop it in there because we're just going to do 1 loop on each side. And then dovetail. And now we're going to move on to our green and black, and we're just going to do 3 loops. Okay. Once again, do my ribbon tail first, pinch, twist, okay, bad side up, good side up. We're going to drop that in the bow maker, like so. We're going to hold it there while we pull more ribbon out. And once again, these are going to be about 5 inches. Twist in the center, drop it in there. Twist in the center, That loop is too long. I like this. The loop is too long on this side, so I'm just going to give this a little tug. This is like an easy fix with this bow maker, because I'm just going to pull my tail through a little bit. Okay, easy fix. All right. Do our twist. Last loop. And we're going to actually dovetail on this side this time, because we're only doing 3 loops. All right. So now that we're done with our bow, we need to get it out. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaners, crisscross applesauce, and I'm going to pull down on them and tighten them up a little bit. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pipe cleaners and my hands to kind of help push my bow out, so I can get it out. Now this is the important part about making the bow. The whole bow ribbon, we call it a stack. This needs to be tight as possible, so I'm going to squeeze down on my stack and squeeze my ribbons together and tighten my pipe cleaner further. All right. And then we're going to twist, 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 twist. Okay, now we're ready to put our bow on our wreath. So let me zoom out. All right. So what we're going to do to put our bow on, we are going to use, let me double check. Okay. We're going to go up 1, 2, 3. We're going to go up right here. So this is where our bow is going to sit. So 1 set, 2 set, the 3rd set of hole from the bottom. And you want to poke your pipe cleaner right down through the mesh into that hole. That's difficult sometimes. What I have here, you can use a crochet hook. This is called a darning needle. It's a yarn needle. It's a big yarn needle. You can get these at Walmart really cheap. And what I'm going to do is I poke it up through the bottom, which is so much easier. I poke it up through the bottom, and there it is, and I hook my pipe cleaner right in. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing over again on the other side. Pull our pipe cleaner down. Make sure our bow is nice and centered on our wreath, and then we're going to tighten our pipe cleaners down. Now I'm going to show you this before I fluff my bow. What I do when I pull pipe cleaners through is I twist them a little bit. All right, but I'm going to cut off a lot of this excess. I don't need it. And instead of leaving this sticking out, I'm going to feed it right back up through a hole. Like so. Tuck it in. That way the back of my board stays nice and clean and I don't have any sharp edges that are going to scratch a door. Okay. Now that we got our bow on there, we're ready to fluff it out, and I start at the bottom to fluff mine. Okay. So we're going to pull our 2 loops apart. Okay. This tail is going to go down. On this side, this tail is going to go down. And we're going to leave our harlequin here in the center. Okay? For the green, one tail is going to go down, and the other one is going to go up. Sorry about that. And then we're going to round our loops up. Okay? On this side, once again, we're going to take this tail down, our purple. We're going to separate our two loops. This harlequin tail on this side is actually going to go up. Okay. Fluff our loop out. And then what we're going to do, because we don't want Mr. Frankenstein to be covered up, is we're going to trim our harlequin down and our green and white stripe. We're going to trim them down a bit. And I typically kind of trim them down about the length of my loops. Of the corresponding color. And we're done. That is your Frankenstein wreath. Okay, and then you'll make your Bride of Frankenstein the exact same way, and you'll have two wreaths. And if you're new, it might take you about an hour and a half, because it's only going to take about 30 minutes to do the prep work. All right. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for joining me. Once again, my name is Jackie. Bye, everybody.